All right, back to Farid here. Blow our minds, Farid. You haven't done it yet, but here we go.
Is we stick with the evidence. You see, the discussion revolves around a narrator called Hisham bin Sa'ad, who Al-Albani considers to be a mid-tier narrator, and who Sheikh Shu'aib considers to be a weak narrator. Of course, these decisions in regards to how strong or how weak a narrator is basically revolves around what classical scholars have had to say about those narrators. And we often find classical compilations that list out the opinions of the classical scholars of hadith. And yes, you will find a lot of criticism about him, but you will find a bunch of quotes that seem to put him in that mid-tier category. So I can definitely see why both Sheikh Shu'aib arrived at his conclusion. I can also understand why Al-Albani arrived at his conclusion. However, there are some works that perhaps weren't
So here's Farid thinking he knows better than Al-Albani and all the other scholars we mentioned.
Maybe I'm like jumping the gun a bit here, but does he ever actually give an argument as to why this is not correct? Or is it just going to be like, so yes, there's Al-Albani's position, but there's another position, what? And he just tries to like muddy the waters and be like, oh, which one's true? And or does he actually give reasons? Because at the moment he doesn't give any reason at all.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
What makes it even funnier is the context of him saying Daniel got caught with his pants down, but if he had this, then it would be the totally different story.
Can you imagine Daniel trying to bring this up in a debate? If he'd have said, "Oh, here's a scholar," I'd have burned him up and said, "Al-Bani says it," and look, Ibn Kathir, he agrees. That wouldn't have gone. Dumb. That wouldn't have worked, Farid. That would not have worked in a debate. Let me put it this way, Farid. That would only work in a debate if it's just someone who read it and they quote it and they have no idea who Al-Albani is or what to say about it. That's the only time it would work, right? We're past those days, Farid. People are onto your tricks. They're onto your tricks here.
By the way, we saw a number of Muslims who were actually, when Farid did this recent video where he just reposted his comments here after Daniel said what he said, he replayed Daniel saying what he said. Didn't we find a number of Muslim comments?
Comments, and we screenshotted them underneath. They're saying, "What do you mean? This doesn't solve anything."
Exactly.
We can see what Daniel said. What he said. What are you doing? Because remember, because notice, this is an issue. Now you're saying because it's either this happened or it didn't. It's either Muhammad put it on the cushion and said what he said, or it didn't. You can't say, I can see why that person said it might have happened, and I can see why that person said it might not have happened.
That makes Muslims feel very uneasy.
What do you mean? We're not talking about who likes which dish. We're talking about, does this happen or not?
Muslims don't like that. They feel very uneasy about that.
So you can't have a process that tells you both yes and no, and you can respect both sides.
Yeah. They want to know, did he do it or not?
I don't know why they don't realize that.
Yeah, and by the way, when we were playing this, when I paused it, I was kind of smirking, and it was because when I was playing this, I actually had a flashback to when Yasser Qadi said, "When you do a deep dive, that's when you're like, what is all this stuff?"
Yeah.
Right? Now, there he's talking about them trying to figure out the Quran, them trying to figure out the standard narrative of the Quran and how to fix that. But what is all this stuff? And he's talking about when you're at the beginning level and stuff, you just accept all this stuff. And then, then you see these, and you start seeing, hey, there's some problems here. So that at that point, you just regurgitate what your favorite scholars say. And then you do a deep dive, and then you're like, whoa, we got some serious problems here.
Farid's at that regurgitate state. He's still in the kiddie pool. He hasn't done the deep dive yet.
Yeah. But I mean, think applying this to Muslims in general. We've got this great methodology, and we heard that Sheikh Yasser Qadi is saying that we've got some serious problems with our methodology, and it can't stand up to academic scrutiny. But Farid says, no, our method is as good as gold. It's as good as gold. We've got this airtight methodology. And then you watch his video, and it's like, well, this scholar says this scholar says that. So it happened, and it didn't happen. Muhammad's entire life is basically this Schrodinger's cat situation, and we have no idea what's going on. It's like, thank you, Farid. Thank you for that. Wow, that's amazing.
And then you use that to call out a debater, and then call it a refutation of David Wood. It's like
David Wood rejected by Schrodinger's cat.
I was just thinking, like, imagine if Daniel actually raised that in the debate. Like, one scholar says it might have happened, another scholar says it might not have happened.
Yeah, and-
Therefore, you're free.
Oh!
and your opponent is a philosopher.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck with that.
These are fun times. Here we go.
Visited by Al-Albani, like Mughlata'i's Ikmal, who quotes a bunch of them weakening him. So Ibn Sa'ad, Yahya ibn Sa'id, Al-Barqi, Al-Uqayli, Abu al-Arab al-Tamimi, Ibn Jarud, Al-Muntajili, Ibn al-Sakan, Al-Fasawi, Al-Dulabi, Al-Balkhi, Al-Khalili, and Abu Ahmad al-Hakim. Now, despite Abu Dawud al-Sijistani himself saying that Hisham bin Sa'ad is one of the strongest narrators from Zayd bin Aslam, it's still drowned in the sea of criticisms against Hisham bin Sa'ad.
And he still doesn't get what he's doing here. So it's still drowned in the sea of criticism and so on. Wait a minute. So this story makes it down. And Abu Dawud didn't catch that. He thought this is not weak. And some of your greatest commentators of all time, it made it through their filters and they passed on this information. And suddenly we get down to the 21st century and it was actually weak. So this managed to deceive many centuries of Islam's greatest scholars, and that's your problem, because it sounds like your methodology is massively deceptive and misleading if it can deceive the best of your scholars. Just wanted to point that out, Farid.
Sounds like a popularity contest, you know?
Yeah,
what was
right.
popular at the time. It's like this guy says this guy didn't like him, this guy didn't like him, this guy didn't like him, but this guy really liked him. So we're going with it. Oh, the Islamic dilemma. Yeah, get all those guys that we didn't like him. Yeah, all of a sudden we care more about them now and what they have to say.
They're what matters. Yeah, but I mean, seriously,
that'd be a funny clip, though. Farid saying it's not a popularity contest, and then you go right to the part where you list like 20 different people, like saying, "Sounds like it." That's what he's doing. But I mean, again, he's like, we mentioned like 9 different scholars, and he's basically saying like, none of these people saw this. Like Ibn Taymiyyah didn't see this. Ibn Kathir didn't see this. Sheikh bin Baz didn't see this. Ibn Hajar, he didn't see that. None of these scholars saw what he saw.
But only Farid saw.
Only Farid saw it.
And a bunch of people that he is quoting.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. These people who are actual Islamic scholars, not just Farid responds. They didn't see what he said. They didn't see what he's seeing, but Farid sees it. Okay, makes sense.
And there's a further problem here, Farid. Think about this. If century after century after century of Muslim scholars and some of your greatest scholars, if they can all think that this story's not weak and treat it as reliable historical information, and then we all just find out now that it's actually garbage that can't be trusted, what else are we going to find out that's garbage that can't be trusted in the future, right? So just to be clear, Farid, Ibn Kathir can treat this as historically reliable. And then you come along later, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm Farid. I will tell you what's historically reliable and what's not. You were wrong, Ibn Kathir. You were wrong, Ibn Taymiyyah. You were wrong, Abu Dawud, one of our greatest hadith scholars. You're wrong, Al-Albani. You're all wrong. Okay. So 5 years from now, information that Muslims and Muslim scholars think is reliable right now might be shown 5 years from now that it's actually just completely untrustworthy, right?
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's a
true?
problem.
That's true, according to you, right? Centuries of Muslims can think something is reliable, and then you come along and can say, no, it's actually not reliable. So what are you going to say 5 years from now is not reliable, Farid? Ouch. There goes. Is it Muhammad's existence that's going to be unreliable? Are you going to be working with Jay Smith and Robert Spencer?
Moreover, there's another criticism mentioned by Sheikh Shu'aib, which is that we also have the same report from Az-Zuhri, from Nafi', from Ibn Umar in the Sahihain, and they don't include this edition. I'd also like to add that we have the same report.
Wait, what's that?
I was just saying zoot zoot. Yeah, no.
I heard that as well and thought, wait, what's he saying?
That wasn't
Who's he referring to?
Yeah, so Ibn Fibn, Sheikh Uthman tried this method as well, where what he does is he takes, remember to try to save Sneeko about the Yemenis are the best people. he tried to do a comparative analysis to other hadith that have the same exact kind of content in there, but they don't have that specific phrase. And so this is exactly what Uthman tried to do, but it failed because all the scholars were like, no, you're actually wrong. That's an authentic hadith. This method is not one that Muslim scholars, the times that you think it would work, it doesn't work. And this is not one of those times. So this is something that, like, people like Farid and Uthman ibn Fibn try to do to try to save Islam.
They play with the phrasing. They find a scholar that hasn't narrated that specific phrasing to try and cast doubt on it, when lots of other scholars have said no, it's good. All of it.
Yeah.
Even this isn't that friendly though. So if the Torah is totally corrupted, why is he having them bring it out? Like his whole point is supposed to be that it's not reliable because you can't count on that Hassan.
Yeah, so even if you toss out this sentence right here, he's still having them bring the Torah, and he supposedly knows what this is, and it's for purposes of judgment and so on. So
yeah,
it all goes back to what Daughter of Christ was saying. Like, it's in the Quran. Like, even if you refuted all of this, you can still make the same point just from the Quran, which is arguably like a better way of making the point. So it's kind of dumb that they're trying to refute it in this way. It conforms completely with the message of the Quran.
It's literally that one sentence that they're taking issue with. Even the sheikh that he's quoting, who says it's weak, it's literally this one sentence. So yeah, break down the sentence and let's see, what do Muslims have issue with? Are you supposed to believe in the Torah? You're supposed to believe in the Torah. Are you supposed to believe in He who revealed the Torah? You're supposed to believe in He who revealed the Torah. So what exactly, like, how is this, like Daniel said, how is this destroying the Islamic dilemma?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah, from the perspective of the Quran, if you actually took the Quran seriously, which they obviously don't, if you read the Quran and what the Quran says over and over again about the reliability of the Torah, how would this be even mildly controversial? It wouldn't be controversial at all. It's exactly what Muhammad should say in a situation like this. I believe in you. Oh my goodness, he believes in the Torah. You mean as we're all commanded to do? This is weird. So, I mean, it's amazing. They can hear something from a dawah clown all their lives, and then you could show them the dawah clown contradicts a lot. They'll go with the dawah clown 100% of the time and don't care at all what Allah says. And then when you're like, hey, be careful, because, even your prophet, he agrees with our interpretation of these dozens and dozens of verses, just to be clear, and let's look for a reason to dismiss that hadith so we can bring Islam once again in line with what our dawah guy said and not with what Allah said. This is a weird, weird religion.
So David, if Daniel used this with this, David said that, I'm sorry, not David. Farid said this would prevent him from getting caught with his pants down.
Would it?
So would that have worked?
Would his dress have still been up?
No, yeah. I wouldn't have had, you guys obviously are familiar with more of the commentators and so on and more of the hadith scholars and stuff. I would have said Albani, said he's the GOAT. He didn't think it was weak. I would have said Abu Dawood. He used it. He didn't comment on it. And I would have said, you've got this in, Ibn Kathir quotes this as historically reliable. So, I would have pointed out that he's picking and choosing, and then I would have pointed out it's exactly what they do with the Quran. It's exactly what they do with the Hadith. And so don't think this would have been the case cracker that Farid thinks it would have been.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's like, imagine that there's like a house burning down, and Daniel Hakichu's trying to put it out with a bucket of water. And then Farid's like, you're doing it wrong. And he goes and he like puts a spoon of water on the doghouse that's also on fire, and it doesn't even do anything.
Right. I was thinking Farid's like, hey, you're trying to put out this fire with that bucket of water. Let me show you this bucket of gasoline here.
Yeah.
Oh!
I thought you were going to be like, you're trying to put out the fire, but this other scholar says there is no fire, so I can see why he might be right, and I can see why he might be right. But this guy Gary down the road, he said that he wasn't a reliable narrator.
That is a better example.
Isn't there something called like blue fire or something? It's like not visible to the eye. And Farid's like, hey, if you put on these glasses, you can see the blue fire. You can't see the fire.
If we just wear blindfolds, we can pretend there is no fire. Oh boy.
From Abdullah bin Dinar, narrating this from Ibn Umar. He also doesn't mention this part about the Prophet, peace be upon him, placing the Torah on a cushion and saying, I believe in you. So yes, in this specific case, I'm going to have to side with Sheikh Shu'aib. He definitely has the evidence on his side due to, one, the lack of corroboration for Hisham bin Sa'ad, and two, the overwhelming claims of Hisham bin Sa'ad being a weak narrator. And this supports the classical Muslim position. The scholars have...
That your methodology
What?
is garbage?
No, it doesn't.
What?
The
How does this
classical...
support the classical Muslim position
What,
when
Ibn Taymiyyah is not classical enough for you?
all
No.
the Muslim
And
scholars...
Ben is not classical enough?
Listen,
What?
all these heretics like Ibn Kathir and
Like
Ibn
Abu
Taymiyyah,
Dawud.
who are completely ignorant of this valuable material that I now have access to. And look, Abu Dawud was a moron. These guys don't know anything compared to me. I am the GOAT. Wow. Al-Bani, who is he?
Wow.
Just put on these blindfolds.
Classical.
Every new Dawa response is going to be throwing 14 centuries of Muslim scholars under the bus.
It's just funny because the one scholar that he quotes to say this is weak is not a classical scholar. Like
no,
Dr.
he's not Shaib. No, he's not.
He literally what he just
It's
died.
some guy. No, he died 2016. I got the
he
date
just
wrong.
died, yeah, he just died 2016. This is a classical Muslim scholar.
And everybody else isn't.
The greatest of classical Muslim scholars, my friend from down the road, he said this.
Like most Muslims wouldn't have even heard of Arnaud, but they would have heard of all the others.
Yeah.
You can't just dig someone up from the dust of whatever's at the bottom of your bookshelf, and then say he's classical, and then the others aren't. That it doesn't.
Muslims, you Muslims who are watching, very seriously here, we want you to understand the methodology that they are using. You can have Allah over and over again in the Quran saying something that is completely, it's like obvious what he means. These are the clearest verses in the Quran, and they can all be saying one thing. But then what will the Muslim Dawagandist who doesn't want to believe that do? He'll go to an ambiguous verse that you can look at 20 different commentaries and get 20 different responses to what it actually means. He'll insert the meaning that he wants into the ambiguous verse, and then he'll use that to dismiss all of the clear verses, right? That is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do to interpret a text accurately. Then they'll do the same thing with the hadith. They don't like what a hadith says. They'll just start doing they'll look for someone. They'll look for someone who had doubt about something, and they'll say, oh, so you can't use that. It's weak. Not realizing, hey, Farid, if we can find a scholar like, I don't know, Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, who tells us the entire system is weak from an academic perspective. So we can throw out literally anything from your sources right now by saying it can't stand up to academic scrutiny. You don't want us doing that, right? You want us taking your methodology very seriously. Okay, well, why are you going with a guy who goes against what everyone else says about something? If your system's actually good, if your system is actually good, why did this information deceive some of your greatest scholars over the centuries?
Allah only made it appear to be authentic
For all those centuries.
and it wasn't really authentic.
Until Farid came along.
Yeah, and then Farid came along and he fixed it all. You know what's amazing is for what Farid's doing right now, it's something that I used to notice from Shabir Ali. Shabir would be like, I figured out how to reconcile all this. I figured out that Jesus was put on the cross and here's what happened and so on. And I'd just be sitting there thinking, you really think 14 centuries of Muslims all got this wrong and that you showed up and then you're the one who finally understands it? Like, that's what you believe? But it's the same thing Farid's doing now. Yeah, 14 centuries of Muslims didn't get it, but I get it. I'm the golden one. This is, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. This is crazy stuff. All right, just a few more seconds of this video left. Let's see if he's... Hopefully the final seconds are better than the first several minutes, Farid.
Always had this general view of skepticism against the Old Testament and New Testament. And actually, I'd like to challenge the Christian polemicists to provide an example of a classical Muslim scholar that held the view that the Torah is fully preserved. Oh, and I'm kind of...
Well,
that's what we responded to.
Yeah,
and then
Giant
the next
DSC responded to that. I
video-
just want to point out.
No.
Farid,
I'm
talking about Allah. All right, go.
Yeah, no. This was a stream that you and Chris
And us.
and us, we all responded to it together. And then the next video that he has is actually a response to that video. So yeah, that's
All right,
But he
let's go.
said, notice he
Okay.
said classical. He
Yep.
said classical scholars, but he just nullified all the classical scholars by not.
Yeah, why
quoting their
would
position.
Farid? Why would we go to classical scholars when, according to you, they're a bunch of idiots who were easily deceived and duped by false information that some idiot made up? Why are these guys reliable? Like when there's something wrong with a story, do they pick up on it? No, they need you for that, right? And so your classical scholars are garbage, and their methodology just didn't work. Hang on, let's play a couple more seconds here, and then it'll be
To
done.
let you know that I'm familiar with the types of statements that you're going to bring to argue that classical Muslim scholars believed in the preservation of the Old Testament and New Testament. But yeah, go for it. Let's see what happens. In any case, I'll catch you guys in the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Farid, let me give you an example of what this is like, man. So this was a while back. Donald Trump, you could use any example of any president or any leader and so on. This is just the kind of the most recent. But Donald Trump this when he was running for president. He's speaking somewhere, and a guy takes a shot at him and hits him in the ear as he's turning his head, right? Okay, that should tell you something. That should tell you that the security around him was not very good. If there's actually a guy with a gun on top of a building over there taking a shot at him, right? That tells you there was a failure of security. And so guess what? Then they get that. Suppose they get that guy. Does that mean everything's fine? No. Why not? Because it means your entire security system was flawed. Your entire system was flawed. You let someone get close enough to take a shot at Trump's head, right? Okay. So it's the same thing with any assassination attempt. You had actual assassinations of presidents and so on. Nowadays you have the Secret Service, and they're supposed to be protecting the president or protecting other people and so on. Well, guess what? Suppose there's this big rally, and security has its system in place, and there's a metal detector, and they're using the wand, and they're screening every single person who gets into this rally. So they're screening this person, they're screening the next person, they're having people take everything out of their pockets, checking all their stuff and so on, and then you get a big rally full of people. Suppose someone at this rally all of a sudden pulls out an AK-47. The response should not just be, oh, we need to get rid of this person with the AK-47 and then we're fine. You're not fine. Because for all you know, if someone got through with an AK-47, your entire system is flawed. Everyone might have an AK-47 in there. Your system, your entire system is defective. Your system for screening people is defective. All right. Now use that same example as people like Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah, Abu Dawud, and so on. They're trying to get to accurate information. If they keep letting in all these false stories, what's that mean? It means their system is defective. Their system for determining what's true and what's false, the entire system is defective. Okay, how do you know what they believe is right and what they believe is wrong? How do you know? Oh, we know how you know, Farid. You decide what you want to believe ahead of time, and then you go and you reinterpret Allah to be saying that, and you reinterpret Muhammad to say that, and then you pick and choose scholars who are going to affirm what you believe. And we don't control you, so if that's your method, that's your method. But to then turn to us and say, you see, I've got the answer, like everything we're seeing from you is like, do you not realize how insane you sound? Do you not realize how screwed up this system is? But anyway. All right. Anyone's mind blown by what Farid just said?
No, I'm curious what Daniel would have to say about that, though. Maybe his mind got blown. And he's like, I should have used that argument.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, should we take back the Islamic dilemma now?
I think so.
Yeah, apparently we're supposed.
Yeah.
Apparently we're supposed to renounce the Islamic dilemma.
Yeah.
Oh no!
It prevents Muslims from getting caught with their pants down if they learn that argument.
Hey, someone deleted someone's comment earlier, and I was like, hey, what'd they delete? And here it is. A Psychopathics Roadshow. Is your father all right, David? Or is he still processing the fact that you tried to kill him many years ago? No, he figured that out. Because I told him. He didn't actually remember. But yeah, I told him. Is he all right? No, he died. He died of a heart attack, right around 50. So hope that clears things up. Any other questions? Wait, did he get banned or is he still around? If he has any follow-ups. Hey, a Psychopathics Roadshow. You know, if you're confused about the history of everything, I've got a video. It's called How God Destroyed My Atheism. Go ahead and check that out. And if you want to go around pointing out things I've done in my past, that's filled with it. That's a bunch of stuff in there. So go ahead and share that with all your Muslim friends and say, look at this thing that this David Wood did. Go ahead and share that video. Check it out. All right. Just wanted to check that out because poor guy's comment got blocked. Let's take a couple super chats and then we will check out. So we've got 2 videos from Farid. You guys are saying we should check out Daniel's response?
I think so.
Yeah, I want to see what his mind was blown.
Yeah. So the Daniel's response video is specifically to that, not to the other one?
I think
for the most part, yeah. I mean, I could summarize the other one because I think it was like 16 minutes. I could summarize because I remember that one, and his argument was really bad. But if you want to watch it, we can. But
yeah, we'll check out Daniel's. We'll check out Daniel's response first, and then we'll see how long we can go through Farid's other video because that's a longer one. But we'll watch it as long as it's entertaining or he's making any point we're interested in. Let's see. Austin said, please let the stream last at least 4 hours. It will not. That's how long I have left on my road trip, and congratulations on whipping Daniel on the debate. Poor Daniel. Hey, I have to say, though, this has been pointed out. Credit where it's due. At least he's willing to debate it, unlike some of these other guys. Right?
True.
That is a serious point. All you guys who are running your mouth, Daniel, you should have answered it like this. You guys all have an open invitation to debate us on this. And we can do it. We can do that in various ways. You can join us live and we can have a friendly discussion. We can debate it at a place like DebateCon. We can set up an online debate. We can do 2-on-2, 3-on-3, however you guys want to do it. Not like 40-on-1 like Muhammad and Al-Zoot, but just if you guys think there are better responses, we're sitting here going, give us the better responses. And you won't do it. So don't condemn Daniel because he's the only one who actually has the testicular fortitude to stand up and take on the kuffar. You should be praising him. Mosh says, no, this is too early. I'm still working. In the name of Al-Zut, I demand you at least wait until 1 a.m. to start the live. Always fun to see. Yeah, our British friends. That is funny. In the name of Al-Zut. We need to start saying that. In the name of Al-Zut, I command you. Seeing Daniel quote Muqatil made me cringe after the giant DOC streams on the word Muhammad. Couldn't a Muslim bite the bullet and say Mujahid was a kafir?
Yeah, I noticed he quoted Muqatil as well, and I think it was on the stream we did with IP.
RP.
Yeah, with IP because
Muqatil is apparently a kafir and a heretic.
He believed that Allah had a body of flesh and blood, and so anyway, Muslims like to cite him because, like, to non-Muslims, it might sound a little impressive to say, like, this is the first commentary of the Quran. And so to like a non-Muslim, that might be like, oh, okay, that's okay. That's must have some sort of authority in Islam, but it does. There's no authority at all. The scholars in Islam say the only time he's right is when he's agreeing with other people, and if he says something on his own, he's a liar. He's a liar. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Muqatil is one of the sources on the Satanic verses. You have a bunch of people early on in talking about the Satanic verses, and he's one of them. But yeah, if
it's okay because he corroborates with other people. As long as he corroborates with other people.
I'm just saying, if I were to tell one of these now, if I tell an average Muslim, they're going to have no idea what I'm talking about because they don't know who any of these guys are. But if I were to quote Muqatil to a knowledgeable Muslim and say, look, he said that Muhammad delivered the Satanic verses, they would point out all this weird stuff about Muqatil and say you can't trust him. But